And we have far too many liberties. And that is just the reality of it. We used to have morals. On the way here, I was at a red light. A car, we're talking like 1,000, 5 seconds later, when the other lights were green and the cars were starting, ran the light. Almost got clipped. No one cares. They're like, the police aren't going to stop me. No one gives them. Why? Because it's only lawlessness. There's no more law and order. Look at the Lululemon CEO. Did you see what happened about a month ago? In one of his stores,
something with
looting in California. Lululemon store, the manager, they were getting robbed. The manager was recording it on her phone. Went outside, recorded the car, called 911, said, hey, we just got robbed. I have video of the person. The CEO fires the manager and then sends out a company-wide email, which you can Google because it leaked, saying, we do not stop looters. So you, manager, did a good thing. You tried to help your business and you lose your job. And then your boss says, we don't want to stop looters. How does that make sense? Give that woman a raise and give her Employee of the Month award, because she doesn't benefit from stopping that person. She put herself in harm's way. What if that person had a gun? What if they turned around and beat her up? And instead of applauding her, they fire her. It's crazy.
All right, man, look, second go around.
Yeah.
So second time's a charm here.
Hope so.
A lot has happened since I last seen you,
Not come back for third.
Yeah. We'll have to go to you, Scott. We have to go to him. Toy drive the other day.
Yeah.
Successful.
It was amazing.
It's amazing. Good for you, man. I walked up and I was like, damn, man, that's kids walking out with bags full. I'm like, geez, man, that's nice. And then we went inside and there was a whole gym full of toys. People going crazy in there.
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
And then you saw in the back where all the trucks were
getting loaded. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Great, man. You were in, where'd you go for the Army Navy game? Is that?
It was in Boston.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They did it at the Patriots Stadium.
Gotcha. Okay. And Dallas and then New Orleans.
Yeah.
Look at you, man. Has anything changed since I last seen you? No, I'm just kidding, man. Let's fire this back up, man. All right. So we got to learn about Manny Kess, man. I mean, you know, even your look, and people that are listening or watching this right now, we did this before and Manny had a completely different look just a few weeks back. And he was just joking with us that he walked in here clean shaven, nice haircut, goatee's gone, the facial scrub is gone, and you look like you're 12 again.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But before all that, my man, talk to us about life. I want to know the journey, man. I want to know how we got to this point with where we're at. And as I always like to say, when we kick off these conversations, there's a lot to unpack there. Now, I don't think we can duplicate exactly what we did last time, but I'll do a damn good job to make sure we have a fantastic conversation equally like we did last time.
No problem. You give me the topics and I'll go. But
yeah.
You know, the short version of from New York originally, born and raised. My father passed away when I was a freshman in college, so I left school, started working. I eventually ended up buying a restaurant and expanding it, and it was in Midtown Manhattan. We were doing really well. Started a catering company from there. We're just doing a couple of different, we were generating income from different streams. And then 2008 happened, and New York City was devastated because a lot of that was all New York based, right? All the hedge funds, the banks, they were based in New York. So we went from being this growing, very successful restaurant to overnight losing half our business, because now Merrill Lynch is no longer ordering lunch for 200 people, right? And Goldman Sachs and all these companies, they're losing staff. They're under fire. They don't know. They're getting federal bailouts, so they don't know if they're going to exist next week. So I fought for about a year and a half to try to keep the business open. Was unsuccessful. So I eventually ended up losing it. And in 2010, I was like faced with a dilemma. Like, okay, what do I do now? And I took some time to myself, because anyone that knows restaurants, you're 7 days a week, anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day. There's no days off. And the saying is, when you're not there, you're getting robbed, because, you know, it's people just making mistakes or not caring. No one cares about your business as much as you do.
Right.
So I got a phone call. A buddy of mine had moved to Vegas, was working in hospitality here. And he's like, hey, man, we're looking to expand and grow, and we want hustlers and people that get it. And I want you to come out here. I'm like, man, what do I know? about Vegas. I've been out there, of course. I've had fun in Vegas, but he's like, just come out. So came to Vegas, ended up doing an interview with him and his team, and I get hired as a host. So I moved to Vegas in March of 2011, and I was a host at Wet Republic. Worked there for a year, got to learn the whole city. Obviously, it's very different then to what it is now. And after a year of doing that, I decided to step out on my own. I mean, that was a great company, but it's very hard when you're in hospitality and you're stuck selling one product. You have to come here. It's very hard to do that. People want to try different things, especially people that are affluent in Vegas that come 2-3 times a year. They don't want to go to the same place. They want to try different things. So I ended up starting my own company. And that was not easy. You know, it's, of course, you can go start a business, open up a corporation, but how are you going to actually make money? And a lot of these venues, a lot of these hotels, they don't just give you the ability to make money. You got to show them. So I went into this 6 month of giving them business and showing them that I have clients without making any money back.
Wow.
And just eating away at my savings. And I was nervous. I'm like, damn, I'm sitting there just, you're counting money when you don't have a lot of money. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I just gave them this and I gave them that. I should have made X. And so eventually I got one contract, then I got another one. Then I became an affiliate with this hotel. I became an affiliate with that hotel. Shortly after that, I moved my sister out from New York because now I actually have a company and we're generating revenue. We got people coming in and Manny's going to 4 clubs in one night and 3 pool parties in one day. And I'm sitting there going like, wow, it's not, you could do it once or twice, but day in and day out, it gets draining. So sis, come on out. I need help, and taught her the business. And we started building it. And we got to a point to where we're one of the largest hospitality companies in Vegas. And along the way, invested in real estate. I've invested in a couple of restaurants, bars, lounges. I have 2 in California, working on number 3 now. So, I mean, that's like the kind of the cliff notes of where I was, where I am, and kind of how I got there. We can unpack that and go into the nitty gritty. But, I had a little smidgen during a pandemic of 2 years running for office. So we can talk about that. But the reality is it's all been hard work, learning. You do things right. You make some mistakes. You learn, you evolve, you grow as a person, as a businessman, as an individual. And I'm very happy and very lucky that I'm blessed that today I own 6 companies. I have the freedom to do what I love, which is travel, still make money. I give back whenever I can. A lot of it is not out there on social media. I don't like to talk about it, but some of the things that I do when I want to get out to the masses and get support, like the toy drive I just did this past weekend, I love telling people, hey, come and help, and seeing others chip in. One person can do so much.
Sure.
You get 20, do a lot more. You get 100. So I'm a big believer of paying things forward, doing the best that you can. And when you're in hospitality, you're always helping people. So a lot of people want to help you when they can. They just don't know how.
Right.
Well, hey, I'm doing this charity event. Come get involved. Or I'm building that, or I'm doing this. And it's amazing how many people in your network, when they come together to join you on something that's going to help others.
Right.
So
I went to visit we're looking at renting a mansion to live in, literally. Business is good. We're doing well. And we went to McDonald Ranch last night, Highlands.
Beautiful.
And the guy's taking us around his house. The guy owns it. It's shocking. And usually sometimes it's the agents of some sort. We're in there and he starts talking to my fiance about how he's watching one of those TV shows. God, I forget the name of it.
Like a Shark Tank or something?
Pardon me. No, it's one of these just entertainment shows that people love.
Got it.
And I don't know the name of it. But in there, zombies, something to deal with zombies. Come on.
Okay.
Anybody?
Bueller.
And
with zombies.
Yeah, he talks about there's a moment in the show where everybody unites around to kill the zombies. And it's funny because, there's...
Is this a TV show?
It's a TV show.
The Last of Us?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
It's so popular, dude. It's at the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. It's one of the most popular ones that's out there. It's going to drive me crazy. And I'm going to text you after I remember it later. I'm freak out.
Okay. Zombie show.
You got humans that are basically going against the zombies, right? Simply said. And I said, what's interesting about that is that, the humans have a common enemy, so they're willing to go out and attack the zombies because the zombie, in essence, is trying to get them and take out the human life, right? So I think a lot about what you just said right there with the toy drive. Not that we're out to take something out in the sense, but there's a unity there that brings people together for a common good, common cause, common goal, which was like, hey, inside of us, we all have this feeling that helping and giving around the holiday season is a good thing to do, right? It's a spirited thing to take into account to provide for the kid that doesn't have a family or the kid that doesn't have the budget from the mom or the dad to get the toys. And so I think of that when you said that and a unique parallel there about how people come together for certain things, right? It's fascinating that you shared that there. So I do want to go back to something you said. I don't think that I caught this previously, but this is something that was interesting because you mentioned that your dad passed away. My mom passed away when I was 10. And so your dad passed away when you were much younger too. How did that impact you? Because I know how it affected me down the road, man. But I'm curious.
It turned my life upside down. I'm a freshman in college.
Yeah.
I was at the Naval Academy at the time. Talk about having a difficult, freshman year.
Right.
And it came out of the blue. So it was definitely life changing and life shattering, I should say, because one day you're this Division I soccer player going to an amazing school, thinking about whether you want to be a Marine or a naval aviator. And I wanted to be a JAG officer. I wanted to be an attorney for the military. I have to leave and I got to start working. I got to see what I'm doing myself. You instantly grow up. So, I'm sorry for your loss and being 10. That's a very tough time to lose a parent.
Yeah.
But for me, it was about, hey, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go into the military. I'm going to do all these great things and have my family to support me. And then I was like, oh, well, no, now I'm going to pivot and have to really grow up. And we guys, now that we're older, we always talk about, I tell all my cousins' kids and all of my friends' kids, stay a kid. Because you don't understand how good it is.
Yeah.
No rent, no car payments, no this. You can just enjoy life. When we were kids, we think that we have it so hard. But man, when you become an adult real quick, overnight, it's really challenging.
Yeah.
So it was a life-shattering thing. But I will say, in life, you can deal with trauma in one of two ways, right? You can go one way and deal with it and use it as motivation. Or excuse me, you go the other way and become an alcoholic or turn to drugs or go that route where you make bad decisions. So luckily for me, my parents did a great job raising me where it sucked, but I used it as motivation to move forward and say, hey man, I learned all these great things from my dad and all these great things from my mom. So why don't I just utilize them and make sure I make them proud?
Sure.
And now I just gained an angel to look over me.
Right.
So I'm blessed to say that because of my upbringing and the love that I was surrounded with by my family growing up, I didn't make those bad decisions. It's easy to do at that age.
Right.
Even at 10, you can rebel, you can get into fights, there's so many things that you can do. So, it was an unfortunate situation, but life stops for no one. And my friends hear me say that all the time. You know what? You lose your job. Well, time doesn't stop.
Keeps going.
You get into a car accident. Life goes on. Someone dies. We went through a pandemic. Life didn't stop.
Yeah.
We're still, what are we, 2.5 years out? We're 2.5 years older.
Right.
We didn't get that time back.
Yeah.
So we have to take the lesson, whether it's bitter or it's sweet, learn from it and do the best we can with the result.
So how do you do that though? Right. So and I love what you're saying, but it's taking the lesson. Someone is in those shoes at the moment, right? Where they're struggling with something very deeply. And they have the option to choose the bitter or the sweet, but they're grieving so badly, their heart is broken. And it could be, the loss of a loved one. It could be, a career breakup. It could be something else that's going on relationship-wise, right? So there's a lot of scenarios that could trigger that. But what would you say to someone that has to decide between taking the bitter or the sweet route? What's an actual fundamental approach that someone could utilize to make sure that they make the right decision, man? Because they could take the bad turn and their life goes to hell for the next 30, 40, 50 life. Or because they're listening to you right now, they go and take the sweet approach and they go on a path where life turns out to be something incredible. What would you say to that?
Listen, I got to go back to what I said. I'm lucky. I had a mom who loved me endlessly and kept giving me life lessons. And it was always, son, it's better to go on the road less traveled, because it's at the end, you know that you accomplished it and you did it. Yes, you can cheat. Yes, you can cut corners, but you know that you didn't do it the right way. And that's always going to come back to haunt you. And there was things like that she kept telling me. So for me, it's never a matter of, do I do the right or the wrong thing? It's a matter of, when I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror, am I proud of who I see? No one's perfect.
Right.
I'm not. None of us are perfect. But as long as we strive to be better than what we were the day before, there's progress.
Let's make sure there are two Mannys in this room. This one right here I'm pointing at is more perfect than this one.
Oh, that's great.
Just so we know.
That one's more perfect. but that's honestly, that for me, and I have to say, it's funny you say this because it made me think about this. Because I didn't think about it until just now, and it's really weird. Army-Navy game, freshman year. So both schools, they bus the whole school to the game. Game was in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. We win. We were given a 2-hour free time in Manhattan to walk around and do whatever. I was supposed to meet my dad that night. I didn't meet him, and this is a long time ago. No cell phones. There's beepers and there's home phones.
Right.
No answer. I go to school the next day, and that was finals week. So go to school the next day. I get woken up at we literally got back to the academy at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get woken up at 8 a.m. The company officer wants to see you. No, you never want to see your company officer, let alone when you're supposed to be studying.
Right.
So get dressed really quickly, make sure that, my uniform, everything is looking good. I go there, one eye open, tired. And they tell me, hey, you got to call your house. I'm like, okay, call the house. My sister picks up the phone. She didn't live with us. She had her own place. And what the hell? Long story short, I go home, do the funeral. My sister and I take care of the funeral. We do all the arrangements. Fast forward a couple of weeks later, I'm at my house and I get a call. My company officer, a midshipman. It was Friday. He's like, this new semester starts on Monday. If you don't come back, take and pass all 5 of your finals, we're going to have to kick you out. You're going to get expelled. This was on Friday. So have a little family meeting. I'm like, all right, guys, taking a train. I'm going to Annapolis tonight or tomorrow morning, and we'll figure this out. And my whole family's like, no. It would have been easy to just give up and just be like, nah, screw that. I got responsibilities.
Right.
But I made my dad a promise. I was going to go to the academy for a year. And if I didn't like it, I can go to any university I wanted. I had over 60 full rides to play soccer across the country. Oh, so he's like, 1 year, you're going to do this. And then after that, stay or go. So I left, took the train, commute. I mean, I was living in Long Island at the time. It's not easy. It took 6 hours to get back to the academy. I got there, studied Saturday, took 5 college finals on Sunday. The teachers came in early, gave me the finals. And now these aren't your civilian teachers that are like, oh, we're going to give this guy an A, we feel bad. These are military officers.
Right. The highest standards of them all.
They don't care.
Yeah.
So I took and I passed all 5 finals. And then Monday I started school. And I finished my year before I left. It would have been easy to just quit and be like, hey, man, I was in sorrow. I was crying. I was like, my life was turned upside down. But as a kid and my whole life, man, it was like, do the right thing. You want to be proud. You don't want to look back. And sitting here all these years later, I would have been so pissed off had I not gone there and taken those finals and passed them. Because now I can look back and be like, damn, how the hell did you take 5 college finals and pass them in that state of mind?
Right.
And for the record, to all your listeners, I'm not a studious man. So I was an athlete and a jock growing up. I mean, I wasn't stupid, but I don't know how I passed those finals. Let me be very clear.
Reason, purpose.
Yeah. And I think it's that drive, but the resolve to want to keep my word to my dad and to myself is what drove me to go back and complete my year. And all these years later, I'm like, damn, I did that.
Yep.
I accomplished that. And then when I look at my life, 2008, when that happened, it could have been easy to just fold up shop and be like, we fought for a year and a half to get more business and try other avenues and try to rearrange my rent with my landlord. Like, hey, I'll give you half now and I'll give you more later, but we don't have the business. We tried. It would have been easy to just be like, it didn't work out. I'll sell the equipment in the restaurant and I'll just go on vacation. No, I fought.
That spirit right there, man, is I think what makes warriors win, in essence, in terms of when your back's against the wall. Do you go forward, or do you keep turning around to go the opposite direction? What I like about what you just said is that it sounds like your dad set a standard for you, in the sense it's like, well, what I take out of what he said was, you're going to go for a year and then you can do what you want, which was go in there, complete the year, and then determine if that's the right thing for you. And then you can say, hey, maybe not, maybe it is. But it wasn't like go for 3 months and then you can walk away, because if there was an easy way out, well, then what would that have made of you as a man? Right. That he was probably trying to do the best he could to groom to go out into the real world to some extent, right?
Yeah. My mom made me the man that I am today, but my father instilled in me a work ethic and the notion that you just be a man of your word. Mm-hmm. And again, no one's perfect, right? But he always instilled, do your best, keep your word. People can take everything from you, money, houses, this, that. Nobody can take away your word. Only you can do that to yourself. And that's the one thing that I've always tried to remember. And, our ego gets in the way sometimes. We get hot-headed. We lose ourselves. Situations pull us in different directions. But for me, personally, 95 out of 100, I've always ended up doing what I thought was right. Now, you might not agree with what I think is right, but I've always stayed true to who I am. Yeah. And those 5 times that I didn't, I just, like I said, it could have been ego. It could have been my anger. It could have been a lot of other things, but I got a pretty good batting average. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's helped me to where I am today, because I haven't always done everything right. And meaning, like in business, sometimes you can work really hard and it just doesn't work out. It's just the reality of life, right? Relationships. You might love someone, but it just doesn't work out. Sure. It's just the way of life. Yeah. But as long as you always try to do better and you learn, I'm never going to make the same mistake twice. Yeah. And I don't like saying always and never, but I will do my absolute best to not make that same mistake again.
That's fantastic. Out of all the things that you've accomplished, which clearly it's a lot, like when I think about what you've shared, your experiences, and we obviously haven't got to all of the other parts of it in terms of what I always say, to you when I do have the time that we've sat next to each other for the few minutes, what a great life you live. Like I told you that last time we were outside, that people would die to be in those situations that you would. People go to these games all the time. They put these jerseys on their back and then they run around and they invest thousands of dollars every weekend to be a part of something that, you're friends with some of these guys in the sports world I'm referring to. But I think about those experiences that you have tallied up. What do you tend to think of in terms of if you look back, what are you most proud of, man? Like what, of all the things you've done, the experiences you've had, aside from I know you probably want to give me the toy drive stuff and bringing people together. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm really trying to have you look deeper and say, man, damn, man, you know what? Something about this or that I did and I overcame, or something in there that you could define as that thing or that item or that characteristic about Manny that makes you like, damn, man, like this is what I'm proud of, right? This is it.
I mean, that's tough to answer. For me, what jumps out is the fact that I can stand here today in front of you and tell you that I'm most proud of the fact that my mom looks at me and always tells me that she's proud of me and she's proud that I'm her son.
Wow.
But relating to what you're saying on the business side of things, getting up and leaving New York in 2010, beginning of 2011, completely broke because I lost everything, all my real estate, all my restaurant, everything in the collapse, coming here damn near broke. And in a short span of 10 years, because 10 years is not a long time, right, turning that into becoming a multimillionaire, owning a half dozen businesses, having a great life because I don't work in an office. I'm traveling the world. Yeah. I'm very, very blessed. Yeah. And I'm still, I appreciate people that are in corporate America. I appreciate people that work hard. I'm so lucky that that wasn't me. So being able to sit here today and talk to you and still make money because my businesses are still out there working is what I'm proud of. And if my family calls me tomorrow and says, hey, Manny, get on a plane and let's go to this dinner or let's go to this event, I have that freedom. Yep. So that's what I'm really proud of, that I've worked really hard lost it all, made it all back and then some because of that work ethic and because of that ability that I'm not just going to sit there and lie. I've had 2 traumatic experiences in my life. Pandemic won't count. That would have been 3, but 2 traumatic experiences that many people would have folded their cards, right? My dad passing away and then losing everything. 2008, I'm a young kid. I'm in my 20s. I got millions. I own 4 houses. I have business that's bringing in a lot of money. And in the span of a few months, because a bunch of bankers and a bunch of mortgage lenders wanted to just give money away to people, they crashed our economy and it affected us. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't do something wrong. I didn't go buy 2 Ferraris and go crash them, or I didn't go, buy a mansion. I'm living modestly. I invested in real estate. You're supposed to do that. I'm working 14 hours a day in a restaurant, building wealth. That's the American dream, right? And somebody else gets to rip it away from you.
Right.
So I took those 2 colossal traumas and turned them into experiences. Hey, man, my dad passed away. Did I keel over? No, I made it through it. Bro, what happened in 2008? The economy crashed. What? Okay, we survived. Hey, where are you now? I own 6 companies. And that's not arrogance. It's I've worked hard.
Yep.
And I built things and then I took some money here and I worked hard to put it in here. And then when that worked, I put it here. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, whoa, I'm chilling. Am I rich? Not by any means. My clients and people that I go out with and I host, they're rich. I can't go out to a club and drop 20 grand or 50 or 100. But I can get on a plane tomorrow and spend 5 grand and go on vacation and be like, hey, it's going to make amazing memories. Yep. So that's what I'm proud of.
Sure.
The fact that my family all say, we're proud of who you are. We're proud of everything that you've gone through and where you've ended up. And then the ability that I have to enjoy my life. My father passed away at 51. So what I said when I was a freshman in college, when I was 19, I said, I'm not going to work until I'm 60 and 70 to retire. I might not have that time.
So true.
So I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to make money and I'm going to spend some of it. I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to make money. I'm going to spend some of it. And now that I'm in my 40s, I live on a plane. I'm traveling all the time. Like you said, I was in 3 cities in 3 days.
Enjoying life, man.
Having fun, creating memories with my friends. Not stressing over how am I going to make my mortgage payment or nope. Talking about what are we doing next week? Where are we going? What do you do for the holidays? So I'm really grateful and blessed that I have been through everything that I have to bring me here.
Sure.
And if I can tell anything to your listeners is, it doesn't matter where you are today. I lost it all. And, in the U.S.
To rebuild, man.
The U.S., it's very easy to make money. We're not living in some country. We're not living in Cuba or China or Russia where you're getting $50 a month or you're under like just some crazy, insane government that controls you. No, you work here, you can make money. I can tomorrow become an Uber driver and make money, right? Like you can go online right now and there's 100,000 jobs that are available. It's a matter of having the ability and the want to do something.
There's so much there that I want to draw attention to.
Okay.
I was just telling Scott this a few minutes ago before you came in, how fired up I'm about right now with everything that's going on in the world and how eerily irritated I am by what's happening in what's being promoted and what values and principles are being compromised on America.
Don't get me started.
But we're going to go there. But you said something there, so I'm going to set that up real quick, and I don't want to let it escape us because I want you to remind everybody that's an American how good they have it, right? Like literally how good they have it in comparison. Because what I think that is happening is there's a large wave of entitlement going on right now where people forget that America is the greatest place to be, that this is, like you just said, the American dream. It's not some other country. It's not the European dream. It's not the Chinese dream. It's the American dream. Yet it's almost like there's cannibalization going on within the country itself. It's like it's imploding from within. Now, I'm not saying that it's the worst or that it's bad, but it doesn't look good. And so I'm sure you have an opinion, but if you could just like start with reminding people how great it is, because what you just said is true, right? Like, guys, look around. Like, what are you doing?
So here's my opinion. My passion in life is traveling. I'm a world traveler. I've been to I don't even know, 70, 80, 100 countries. I don't tally them. A lot of places. The easy answer is the US is the best country in the world. The difficult conversation is, are we as good as we were 10, 20 years ago? No.
Right.
So right now, we're in a downward spiral. And without getting too political, which I'm sure you're going to trigger that later, we're in a downward spiral right now. So we are not the America that we were 10 or 20 years ago. But we are still leaps and boundaries better. That's why you tell me a country that's better. People talk about Australia. Australia's great. Go ask an Australian how much fun they had during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. No.
Go ask them if they want to move here.
Right.
You could say Europe. Pick a country. The UK, I'm Greek, Greece, Italy. They all want to be here. We're not going to even talk about China or Russia because we know what goes on in those countries. We are the best country. But having said that, we have lost a lot of the greatness that we've had as we've declined over the past 5-10 years.
Sure. What do you think that decline is? Why is it happening? And what can we do, whether it's an ideology that we can change and talk about it so that just brings awareness to people, or hard actions that need to be done? I mean, obviously you ran for office. That's a whole, like you said, you opened it up. You said, I'm going to go there. You went there before I even had the chance to go there. So, so the doors are starting to open.
Well, you know me long enough to know that I don't hold back.
No, I know. But dude, this, like I was just telling Scott earlier, like there's a big thing going on in my heart right now where it's like, I feel like even though I'm not the wisest guy around these subjects, I want to talk to people that have much more knowledge around them. Because dude, I feel like we're at war with defending our rights and our freedoms and our liberties and our choices. And there's just this mass manipulation going on, and I cannot fucking stand it.
Let's go ahead and piss off anyone who sees this.
Yeah.
And
Please, let's do it.
We have, I think it's like 340 Americans.
Million.
340 million.
Yeah.
Million Americans in this country.
340 million. That's a fucking small number now.
340 million. And our best two candidates for president are Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now, I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on, okay? There is no one that wakes up in the morning loving one of these candidates. What you do is you either hate one, so you pick the other one, or you just follow a political party.
Sure.
I am a registered Republican, so let's get that out of the way. But I am not this like, if there's a litmus test of Republicans, 100 questions, I fit every 100 questions. No, that's not who I am. I'm fiscally responsible and I'm socially liberal. I don't care what you do with yourself as long as you don't infringe on my rights and on me.
Right.
Okay? And where the current collapses is that the political scheme is separating Americans into two parties. So what do I mean by that? You cannot be LGBTQ plus, theoretically, and be a Republican. Why not? You can't be a minority and be a Republican. Right. You can't hate guns and be a Republican. Why? Who made these rules? The media did. And that's where the problem is. You know, I had this conversation with my mom when I ran for office. I'm like, Mom, who's your favorite president of all time? She goes, Reagan. I said, okay. I'm like, did you hate the person who ran against him? She goes, no, I just liked him more. I go, great. Turn on the news, Mom, and look at what's going on. She goes, oh, no, I can't. Because you either hate Joe Biden, and you know, there's songs, all this stuff, or you hate Donald Trump. Me personally, I have my opinion, but it doesn't matter. If your opinion is the opposite of mine, we should still be able to be friends and have a conversation.
Right, exactly.
Right? Growing up, or not even growing up, like 20, 30, 40 years ago, we as Americans agreed on 70% of topics. But there was 15% on one side and 15% on the other side that we disagreed. Namely, Second Amendment, abortion, and probably something fiscally was, having to do with, like right now, the big talk is about debt relief for your college debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but 70% we agreed. We weren't at each other's throats. So what's happened in the last 10 years is now we fight over the 15 and 15, but it's polar opposite. I hate my neighbor because they're pro-abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my cousin is this. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to, as Americans, and this is what sucks. I had this conversation a few days ago. You know when it was the best time to be an American? Right after 9/11.
Yeah.
Because we all got
Everybody came together.
and we had a common enemy. Just like you said earlier.
Yes, exactly.
The zombies.
Yep.
So until we get another zombie,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be far apart, or until we get a president
Leader.
who unites us.
That's right.
But that can't happen now. Because if you're a Democrat and you say you like guns, you're not getting elected. And if you're a Republican who's anti-guns, so something has to change. And unfortunately, it's going to be something cataclysmic or extreme.
Now, does the extreme part come from cataclysmic? Makes sense, right? Whether it's a disaster or it's terrorism, it's those events. Is the extreme a new person getting into office that's not a Trump or that's not a Biden? Like, what is the extreme
The machine won't allow it.
machine? Yeah.
You know who's going to be the next Democratic presidential nominee?
Newsom.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know who's going to be the next Republican nominee?
Is it Ron?
Correct.
You think so?
So we know who it is. There's no, you think so. It's done.
Interesting.
Maybe not next year,
Right.
but the next one.
Right.
And that's it. And Governor Newsom, in my opinion, terrible governor.
He's the worst.
He has destroyed California.
Exactly.
I own 2 businesses there, about to own a 3rd. I won't even go there. So that's going to be.
But he looks good. He talks right. He postures properly.
Full of shit.
Full of shit. Airhead.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
People are sold on the dream by him, though.
All you got to do is look at California.
Yeah, that's right.
People are leaving California. Lifelong Californians are leaving at record numbers. Yeah. And that's the future.
Mm-hmm. If he gets nominated president, that's America.
And now, DeSantis, listen, I've met him, cool guy, had conversations with him when I was running. I agree with 75% of his ideology. I'll take that because Governor Newsom and I agree with 5%. But the Democrats are going to vote for the Democrat. They're not going to do the research. They're not going to see. It's not, take emotion out of it.
Yeah.
When the pandemic happened, where did people go? California or Florida?
Florida.
Since the pandemic ended, where are people going? California or Florida?
Florida.
It's not rocket science.
Right.
Is he perfect? No. But the man is doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about all the people that are leaving California now that are going to infect other places?
I'm not saying they're infecting. I think
hold on,
we live in an amazing country and we have far too many liberties. And that is just the reality of it. We used to have morals. On the way here, I was at a red light. A car, we're talking like 1,000, 5 seconds later, when the other lights were green and the cars were starting, ran the light. Almost got clipped. No one cares. They're like, the police aren't going to stop me. No one gives them. Why? Because it's only lawlessness. There's no more law and order. Look at the Lululemon CEO. Did you see what happened about a month ago in one of his stores?
Something with
looting in California. Lululemon store, the manager, they were getting robbed. The manager was recording it on her phone. Went outside, recorded the car, called 911, said, hey, we just got robbed. I have video of the person. The CEO fires the manager and then sends out a company-wide email, which you can Google because it leaked, saying, we do not stop looters. So you, manager, did a good thing. You tried to help your business and you lose your job. And then your boss says, we don't want to stop looters. How does that make sense? Give that woman a raise and give her Employee of the Month award because she doesn't benefit from stopping that person. She put herself in harm's way. What if that person had a gun? What if they turned on and beat her up? And instead of applauding her, they fire her. It's crazy. And I really hope that manager sues them. I'm not a suing kind of person, but that's terrible that you do the right thing and you get fired for it.
Makes you question where the justice is.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, and it goes so much deeper. In San Francisco, Walmart's shutting down, Macy's. These massive chains are closing up shops because they're getting robbed every day. Police don't show up. No one's getting arrested. Because in California, under $1,200, you don't get arrested. So what's happening? The gangs are now going 10, 15 people into these stores and robbing them. Last time I checked, 15 times 1,000 is 15 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Stores can't take that loss every single day or once a week or once a month.
Right.
And you know what the governors and these people do? Nothing. The mayor's nothing. It's crazy that people are doing that. Like I'm sitting here Christmas shopping and I'm saying if I wasn't honorable, I could just go to stores and rob them and no one's going to say a thing because they can't. Because even in Nevada, I think it's $1,000 here. I don't know if it's 1,000 or 1,200, but under $1,000, you can go right now to whatever mall, fashion show, go into 5 stores. As long as it's under $1,000, I'm like, really? This is what it's become?
Yeah. Why? Why enable that?
For votes.
Votes.
To get support.
Wow.
And I'm gonna teach you something that I learned when I was campaigning.
I want you to talk about that, but God, who's listening right now that doesn't understand that that's just wrong? So this is part of my concern, Manny. If you had a boss, if you were working for somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Like this guy, for example, that you just mentioned at Lululemon, that very publicly and obviously mistreated you, disrespected you, and manipulated you, and did all the things that you would be like, if you're a normal person, dude, I'm not tolerating this anymore. I'm out, right? Why would you continue to support and work there if that was the case? My question, right? Most people would say I wouldn't. Fuck me out of here. Great. Now, you're not considering the fact that they might need the money because they've got no income. They need a family. They've got to feed the kids. Okay, like that would be an argument point. There's a debate. But then you have the political system, where you're talking a lot about it right now, and I'm more taking the, sharing my thoughts with, like, I don't know what I don't know, and I'm not very, I would say, savvy in these worlds, but I'm certainly just pointing obvious things out, where these people are purposefully manipulating you and cheating you and lying to you and stealing from you and creating a net negative in the society, and people still support it, dude. They still fucking go vote and they still defend the Democratic Party or the Republican. It's like they still go out and say, yeah, I want to support this. When in reality, we have all the power. Mm-hmm. We have all the power, people. But no, they still. I'm going to blow your mind. I want you to grab your phone. Man, let's go. I want you to go to Google. Okay. And I want you to Google Nevada State Assembly Person Salary. Person's salary. Yeah. Nevada State Assembly Person, because we live in 2023. You can't say man or woman anymore. Salary. Salary range. Hourly rate, $15.88. Does it give you the annual? Oh, sorry. 15 to 24. It's got to be a range. Mm-hmm. Daily rate, $127.05 to $197.10. Mm-hmm. Apparently, I don't see. Let me see here. It's got is it the hr.nv.gov link? No, just put in annual salary. Because I'm gonna educate you guys, and I learned state lawmakers in Nevada now draw a base annual salary of $12,000. Boom. Does that sound right? So a state assembly person makes $12,000 a year. Do you know what they do? They create the laws for our state. Okay, and you know that, right? Every 2 years. They meet. I'm learning. Okay, so every 2 years they meet for 6 months. It's because it's biannual, and they go up to Carson City and they create laws, right? And they vote. Right. So you asked the question earlier, why do these things happen? If you are making $12,000 a year and you have donors that give you $50, $100, $200,000, buy you a car, do this thing that they're not supposed to do, but we all know happens. Of course. Are you not going to do what they want?
I'm going to give you another example. And I'm going to answer it. I'm not even going to ask you. The number one held stock in Congress is Pfizer. So when I ask you, what drug company got the first approval during a pandemic, what's the answer?
Pfizer.
I wonder why. Now you're going to say, maybe it's a coincidence, Manny. It's not a coincidence that Congress people in the U.S. Congress, they make $225,000 a year. Not a bad living, right? But how are these people, after 10, 12 years, worth 15, 20, 30 million?
You're talking about like a Pelosi as an example? That's
yes.
like a ridiculous
Well,
amount
I think
of money
Pelosi is worth over 40 million.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you're making, let's say you make $250,000 a year, right? Half of that goes to taxes, right? So you net 125.
Right.
You got rent, car, whatever, your life.
Yeah.
Even if you have zero expenses, if you don't spend $1, if you take $125,000 a year for 10 years, you multiply it, it's $1.25 million. How do you get to 30? How do you get to 20? Now we know, because we actually have common sense, there's no way there's zero. You got gas, you got to eat, you got to do. So that 125, if you save 20 grand a year, you're lucky.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's not a lot of money.
Right.
How do you get there? Special interests, donors, all this stuff, mystery stocks that you buy. Look at President Obama. You can go, this is Googleable stuff.
Right.
What was he worth when he went into office? What was he worth when he went out of office? I mean, we all know, we should know that the president of the United States makes $400,000 a year.
Right.
Right? We know it because they all talk about it. A lot of them give it back. Like Trump's like, I don't need it. I get, $1.
Because he makes his own money.
Correct.
At a company.
So how does a president go into office worth $1 million, comes out of office 8 years later worth 30, 40, $50 million? It's impossible,
Special
right?
interest.
Because you're not allowed to take a job. You're not allowed to be on salary anywhere else. So how? It's all the back end deals. And again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. All I'm saying is it's black and white. It's very, very easy if you just pay attention. But we let our egos get in the way. We watch the news. We read the papers. And now we let whatever we're reading judge our mind.
That was I think you answered my question. It's like, do people, there's like a psychological impact on not wanting to believe something that they've believed to be true for so long?
100%.
As it's like, because then they're wrong about something that they've believed for so long. And it's like, well, how could that be? That's impossible. And they don't want to be left in their own head without that certainty that that's the truth. And so therefore, it's like, oh, no, I'm just going to keep sticking to what I believe. And because of that, I think that's what they've mastered, right? I think media, you mentioned media and just, overall highest levels of manipulation know how to move the human mind in a way that they don't even know that it's being moved. The human does.
Listen, like I told you, I am a registered Republican. I have been for the majority of my adult life. In the last election here in the state, I did not vote for every Republican because there were several Republicans that were terrible choices.
Sure.
And I would go to these meetings and these people with their pitchforks would be like, Republican, Republican, Republican. And I'm sitting there like, have you studied this person? And have you studied their opponent? No, I'm a Republican. My parents were Republicans. It's like, hold on a second. Let me tell you how crazy it is. No, not crazy. Tomorrow, right? We have an election next year. Tomorrow, I can go and put my name on the Democratic ballot and run as a Democrat. There's no law against that. You can do that, right? So tomorrow, if I ran as a Democrat in the state of Nevada, you have like a 58% chance of winning because the state is majority Democratic. So because I put a D next to my name, I would win. I won't do that because I refuse to run on the basis of a lie, but you can. So I challenged a lot of people, a lot of Republicans when I was running to do their research. And I was like, this person is a terrible person. How do you want this individual to win this seat and do this job? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, I'm gonna give you an example. What do you do for a living? And the one gentleman was like, I'm in construction. Okay, tomorrow, if I made you the president of the biggest construction company in the United States, can you do that job? Absolutely not. Why not? You're in construction. Yeah, but he's like, I'm a foreman on a site. I go, you can't run 20,000 employees? No. Okay, ma'am, what do you do? I'm a teacher. Okay, so tomorrow, if I make you the president of the teachers union, can you do it? No. Why not? I wouldn't know what to do. But you're a teacher. What's your point? How are you going to take somebody who does, let's just say they're in IT, and make them the state treasurer of Nevada? Or how are you going to take somebody who is an Uber driver? I'm just using an example.
It's true, though. This is how silly it is, though, brother.
And make them the governor.
Right.
You can't. They have to have certain qualifications, right? But no, as long as they're a D or an R and you follow the D or the R, I'm like, guys, that makes no sense. And I sat there having arguments with people and trying to have a conversation. And it's like you're talking to a wall. Because no matter what you say, doesn't matter. I'm a Democrat. I hate Republicans. I'm a Republican. I hate Democrats. I'm like, I'm sorry, but on this ballot, this Democrat is far better suited than this Republican. So I'd rather not vote, because I don't vote for Democrats. It's the way that I was raised not to do it. But I'm not going to vote for the Republican who's terrible and who will do a bad job and who would likely affect all of us. And I got into arguments. Well, you're not a real Republican. You're a rhino. I'm like, why? Because I spent $180,000 out of my pocket to run for office to try to show you people being voters, that someone with common sense who actually owns things, who's actually done things in their life, will take the risk. We'll put it all on the line. Give them a chance. No, we want the career politician who fills us with bullshit, who lies to us, who tells us what we want to hear, who's under an FBI investigation. That's who I lost to. And I'm sitting there going, and you want me to do this again? You know how many times I get called, do you running again? No. My party chose a career crook over me. They all loved me, but they chose a career crook because she sits there and lies to your face and tells you what to hear. She'll tell you what you want to hear. She'll go next to that person, tell them what they want to hear, which is the exact opposite of what she told you. Go to that person, all while stealing money and enriching herself and her family.
How does that actually look? Do they receive monies from donors and special accounts? They put it in the,
she doesn't even have to do that.
They don't even have to do that.
She paid her daughter a consulting fee to set up events for her campaign. So some money literally came into her campaign account. She paid her daughter. And we all know, A, it's unethical. B, it's a lie. The FBI is investigating her and they did nothing because it's too small potatoes for them. I'm like, wow.
But they even don't really do much even at the high level because they're insulated there.
Again, it depends. They'll sit there and try to crucify President Trump, but they won't look at,
Speaking of Trump, did you see the news of today?
No, I haven't seen the news today.
Oh, let me tell you what this is.
Is it
Colorado Supreme Court disqualifies Trump from 2024 ballot. Effective today.
How?
A couple hours ago.
So crazy.
What do you take of that? Like,
dude, how do you disallow someone from running for office? Last I checked, you have to be a U.S. citizen over a certain age, and that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the add-on. Because of January 6th court ruling, the riot on the Capitol. Like this. So again.
So this is my point. They're not letting us, the voters, pick. They're telling us who we can and can't vote for. That's not the American way. And I don't care. Like President Biden, I will never vote for, but he should be on the ballot. You can't tell me you can't vote for him. No, I choose not to vote for him. But this is another reason of this is media. This is bogus. This is not anywhere in the Constitution doesn't say you can do that.
Right. The power play.
Of course it is. They're trying to mitigate him because they're scared that he might actually win.
I mean, think about this though. Think about see again, folks.
And for the record, I'm not like this I'm not telling you got to be MAGA or whatever. All I'm saying is, as an American, I should vote for whoever I want on the ballot, and we shouldn't be taking away names.
Right. That's the moral code. That's the ethics of America.
Correct.
Right. That's the whole point. I'm with you. Like whether it was Trump or John Smith or Frank this, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not about that for me. I'm looking at all the things that are going on underneath it that are upsetting around why that's happening, because that again goes back to that point of like, look at them just throwing it in your face and saying, for whatever that was, election interference, that there was all this news about a few years back about what the Republicans did and the Dems were just trashing them. And now, is this not election interference? Is this at the highest level? So isn't that a level of hypocrisy where it's like, oh, look at this that you guys were complaining about, but now you're doing it in plain sight. And now it's public everywhere. And people are still going to be like, well, that's okay because we're a Democrat.
Yeah, we don't care.
Like,
doesn't matter.
Dude, that's the stuff that I'm losing my shirt over nowadays, because I'm like, people, how do we regain the DNA of what made, man, I love people. I just do, man.
It's gone.
You know?
It's gone.
It's like, but I believe that slowly but surely, man, we got to say something, stand up for something, be a voice, do it. And I think this helps a lot. And I don't claim to know a lot about this stuff. Obviously, you're very well read and educated after having ran through the office because of what it required. But this just bothers me, man. It bothers me a lot because, you know, it's in essence
Manny,
saying that
I just booked a flight on Delta, and it said for gender, male, female, unidentified. It had all these options. So I posed this question to one of my best friends. I go, so if I pick unidentified and I'm going through security and it beeps, who's going to search me? Because normally, if you're a male will come and they'll say male assist, right? And if there's a woman, female assist. So if I'm unidentified, is the unidentified going to come and search me? And I'm not getting into the LGBT. I'm just talking about common sense. Right. You say speak up. What speak up? We lost the ability to sing the national anthem. We lost the ability to use the word God in school.
That's a problem.
I don't care what religion you believe in. Right. We all believe in a God, correct, right?
Yes.
Whether it's
1000%.
Hindu, Buddha, Orthodox, whatever. We all believe in a higher being. So when did it become offensive to say one nation under God?
Right.
But that's where we live. So speak up. Who's listening? I mean, there was a congressional...
The people, though, I think. And listen...
People don't talk, man. Everyone's scared.
No,
there was a congressional hearing last week.
Silently hearing, though,
Did you see the congressional hearing with the university's presidents that went and spoke?
Oh, Harvard, I think was the lady that got...
UPenn.
Fired.
Harvard.
UPenn.
There was three of them.
Yeah.
3 universities. Yeah. And they talked about... So the committee talked about how they're allowing all these things to happen on their campus, and how can you allow people to be discriminated? And they were talking about Jewish people. They're like, you have Jewish professors, Jewish students. I'm not getting into the debate of who's right and who's wrong. All I'm saying is on any campus, you should not be allowed to have any sort of hate speech or intimidation. And these university presidents, which were all female, I was like, wow, awesome. Female presidents, all 3 of them, amazing, right? Like, go equality. They sat there and they're like, oh, we don't care. It's freedom of speech. Are you kidding me? In what planet is that common sense to say, I don't care? It's to me, it's mind-boggling. I was in New York City visiting my family in October, and I went to the city to meet friends for dinner, and there was a pro-Palestine rally. I don't care, cool. You know what my issue was? They were in Central Park, and they climbed on monuments, and they ripped down American flags, and they was stepping on them.
Right.
So they interviewed a police officer. They said, hey, why aren't you doing it? They go, oh, well, many veterans will tell you that they fought for the right for people to step on flags. I'm like, time out. Wait, what? People fought and died for our right to desecrate the American flag? No, that's not why people fought and died. I'm not telling you not to wave your flag from your country. I'm a proud Greek American. I wave my Greek flag as much as I'll wave my American flag, but I'm not going to desecrate either one of them. But the couple's like, oh yeah, it's like no big deal. Like, no, it's a big deal. This is still America. You don't get to do that. And so I know what your point is. Like, how do we fix it? Have conversations. You know, let things fester to a point where people are mad, but no one's getting mad. Everyone's just looking for an excuse to keep quiet.
I'm fucking pissed.
Well, me too.
I'm mad, dude.
Me too.
Like, this is a serious, like, dude, so I was sharing this earlier, and I said, I've spent the most of this month thus far re-agitating myself to get pissed off about what I'm going to conquer in 2024 and beyond. Because I was like, dude, I'm doing good, man. I've had a good life. I'm fucking thankful, right? I'm appreciative of all things. And it's like, but there's something else in there that's just like, dude, you were called for something, right? And it's like, I start getting these indicators about what's pissing me off, what's upsetting me, what's making my blood boil. And I hear these stories, and you just mentioned the plane. And the other day I heard the Southwest news. I was sharing this a few minutes ago too. And I'm like, the super fat person now gets to fly with 2 seats. For free.
Yes.
And if you're a paid customer of other normal size, there's the potential that you lose your spot on that flight because this fat person can come in and take your seat.
Why? Tell me why that makes sense.
That's it. That's the thing.
Why? Or the fact that in Nevada, an underage child can tell their teacher or their educator that they want to have a sex change, and they don't notify the parent. I have 2 goddaughters that are teenagers. They're both 15 this year. And I'm sitting there going, if I'm a parent and my child decides to have a sex change and goes to the teacher and says that, the teacher goes, yeah, takes him to do this, I'm killing someone.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Like, since when? If you're underage, you can't buy cigarettes. You can't buy alcohol. You can't drive a car, but you can change your sex. I'm sorry, guys and gals and other. We're talking about less than 1% of the population. And to make him feel inclusive, we're changing the way that we all think. There's a comedian, his name is Sebastian Maniscalco, and I saw him at the Win last year. And he was talking about his kids, and he's like, this is a true story. He's like, you know, his kid goes to school, his son goes to school, and in his class there's like 23 kids and 1 lion. 1 child identifies as a lion. Yeah. And he's like, this is a true story.
Yes.
The kid goes to private school, they pay a lot of money, and the kid's name is Rory, and he's in lion gear, and they don't give him like a lunchbox. He eats on the floor with a newspaper. And I'm sitting there going, hold on a second. When did we allow 1 child to disrupt the whole class? Back in my day, I would get sent to the principal.
That's right, man.
I get detention. I would get suspended.
Yep.
And now it's acceptable because 1 person wants to be unique. No. You could be unique. You could be a lion at your house. You could be a lion wherever, not in school where we're trying to learn and teach these 1st, 2nd, 3rd graders who are very impressionable. The ABCs, right?
Yep.
So, I throw it back to you. How do we go back? Because there's only 1 Rory today. It's not like there's 13 Rorys and 13 kids, and we're like, okay, everyone play nice. It's 1 out of 25 or 1 out of 24. But everyone else is affected.
I don't think there's enough. Look, I think the easy answer is to say it starts at home, right? I think there's a part of that, meaning there's not enough.
If your Manny's kid comes downstairs saying I'm a lion, he's probably going to send right back upstairs.
I'm going to say, son, you got the. I'm going to say, son, you got the spirit of a lion. Here's what's funny about this, though, brother. So this is funny. My son's name is Lincoln, and his nickname is Lincoln Lion, but it's because I value the spirit of the lion as the king of the jungle. Like, I have a big lion painting above my office door when I walk in. Like, I am very much the lion is the king, and, you know, we roll with that type of thing because it's all mindset, right?
100%.
But the minute he tries to come in, and that's my job as the dad, and I've got to be on the same page as my soon-to-be wife and say, look, you know, this is what's happening out in the world. We need to make sure that we are communicating to us and to our child what we stand for, what we believe in, why this is right, why this is not okay as a family standard, why we don't support this. And if you're not doing that with your kids, dude, part of the problem is that in my opinion, a lot of people just send their kids away to school because they're tired, man. They're exhausted. They can't afford to do the right thing and maybe keep the kid at home. Maybe the parent has lost their damn mind. They're unemotionally available. It's like, it's a challenge out there for most people. I heard something great from somebody. It was like, too many of the right people are not having enough kids and too many of the wrong people are having too many kids. Right?
That's an argument there.
And so I was like, oh, that's fascinating.
Especially in America.
Especially in America.
The more kids you have, the bigger the welfare check is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So it becomes a question of how do we parent in a way where we control that situation as best we can in the home based on a values and standards and principles system, less than we let that go out to the outside world and let them start to eat our kids' lunch per se, because they've got their own rules, they've got their own ways. And I'm like, I don't subscribe to that. Dude, we're blessed, man. We're not going to put our kid in a traditional school system. We're going to homeschool them, right?
Yeah.
My fiance stays home. She's with them every day. I'm over here doing the right thing, figuring out how to be better every day with our mindsets and our lives and our businesses. And we ain't putting up with that. Now he's going to come a day, probably he's going to want to play sports, go out and meet people. And it's like, all right, we're the parents. Let's meet the parents. What are you guys up to? Huh? Okay.
Yeah, what's happening?
What do you value? What kind of life you guys living? I ain't playing. That ain't happening. Right. So we're gonna be very
I want to have a sleepover at Tommy's house. Yeah, not tonight.
And Tommy's the lion.
Yeah.
Like, I get the fact that, like, joking, that's funny that the timing of that was like, no, but my son's nickname actually is Lincoln Lion. We always talk about that. So, but dude.
Well, like a silly thing that probably people don't even pay attention. You go on a flight and you go somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so annoying how many times now we get interrupted by some message, some disclaimer. I'm like, why? Make me sign something on the way when I book my flight. Give me I don't need to be woken up 6 times so you can give me some disclaimer. We'd like to think that I'm a big Delta guy. I'm a medallion of guests and blah, 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 blah. Then 2 minutes later, we're about to hit some turbulent air. Please fasten your seatbelts. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, there's a fasten seatbelt sign. Press the button, say fasten your seatbelt. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear 20. Oh, join up today and get 25,000. I was sleeping. You just woke me up to tell me about a freaking credit card that I don't want. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then the pilot's going to come on. My name is Mr. Johnson. I'd like to thank you all for flying with us today. We know that there's a lot of airline companies and choices, but we value that you chose us. Thank you, sir. I really didn't need to hear that.
And it's a red eye.
I really, and it's like, 2 a.m. It's like, come on. It's crazy. But the point of that is we become a country, unfortunately, where people don't care anymore. They're quiet. Yep. They don't stand up for their beliefs.
Yep.
Unless you're on like social media and then you're like this other person. It's not you. Right, everyone's like rich and famous and cool on social media, but back home, most of them don't have money to pay their bills. Yeah. So, we're living like this dual reality, or not like one reality and one make-believe. So I don't know where the fix is.
I think people have to get pushed around enough, and then they'll start to realize, like, I think COVID was a good test. People that were sort of on the fence about, just kind of trying to understand. Some of this stuff doesn't calculate. Some of this stuff doesn't add up. It's just humans have potential, man. I still believe in that, right? That's the other part of it, right? I believe in change, dude. We joke. I used to work in the nightclubs too, and every night I was out getting fucking hammered and passing out on the, couches of excess or whatever else it was, or sleeping in the hotels, snoring cocaine all night. And I changed, man. Like, I changed. I gave that up. I started working on myself relentlessly. I started thinking about getting around people playing at a higher level. I was one of those guys. I was the guy that would literally go to the voter box and be like, I'm a Democrat. Dude, I had no education at all about what a Democrat, like zero. But because somebody sold me, if I can reflect on this properly, it was like, it's about freedom. And I was like, okay, liberal means freedom, liberty, whatever. And I didn't even calculate, but I was like, okay, I'm going to the box. And just like you said, I voted for D. And now I'm like, 2020 hits, and I'm like, fuck, it's kind of weird out here, man. This is sort of strange. And I've had all these great mentors that are like, dude, you should ask more questions and be like, looking up about some stuff. Oh yeah, I'm open-minded now. They're like, okay, it says watch what you find. I'm just like, all right. So I'm start looking around. I'm like, dude, fuck, it's so in front of you. It's like this does not make sense, right? So now I have to change how I play the game because the game's still getting played by them.
Oh, but it's funny. When I was running for office and I was telling the cocktail servers and the hosts, I'm doing this campaign fundraiser, just come and check it out. And they were like, what are you running? A Democrat, Republican? Oh, I'm a Democrat. And I was like, is there a camera here? Am I getting punked? They go, no. Why? I'm like, you are a Democrat. And the girls were like, yeah. I'm like, you are a Democrat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why? You make a couple of $1,000s a week, right? Yeah. You have a Mercedes, Audi, or BMW? Yeah. Do you own Louboutins? Yeah. Do you own Louis Vuitton purses? Yeah. Are you sure you're a Democrat? Yeah. Why? So you're telling me you want me to take your car, take all your nice things, and you want to sit home and collect $600 a week? Mm-hmm. What do you talk about? No, of course not. I go, so if you're making $150,000 a year, you want to give the government 100 of it, and you want to keep 50, and you want to pay more taxes. Man, are you crazy? You go, but you're a Democrat. Mm-hmm. Democrats want to tax people making over a certain amount of money, and they want to give the money to people that are unemployed or can't get a job. Huh? Do you look at what Democrats stand for and what they vote for? No. I go, okay, homework assignment. Mm. You're not a Democrat.
That's it.
And then the one girl goes, well, I don't want to pay my student debt. I go, okay, cool. I said, how about you? She goes, I didn't go to school. So tell me something. If she has $100,000 in student loans and you have zero because you didn't go to college, is it fair to give her $100,000 for free and you get zero? She goes, no. I'm like, why not? She goes, because why is she getting $100,000 and I'm getting zero? I go, oh, so wouldn't it make sense to give her $100,000 get debt relief and then give you $100,000, do what you want? Yeah, that's fair. I go, interesting. Democrats don't think so. They think everyone should have their college debts taken in, getting rid of. And I go, what about the doctor that you go, your dentist, your doctor? Those people have hundreds of thousands of debts. And the girls go, no, they make a lot of money. I go, yeah, that's why they got their college debt, their student loans, because they wanted to go to good schools. They want to go to dental school or doctor and medicine and whatever and get these high paying jobs. Should we get rid of their college debt? No, because they're making a lot more money. I go, oh, so they should pay it off because they're making more. Yeah, you're not Democrats. But thanks for trying.
But more importantly, thanks for fucking it up.
This is the thing. No one pays attention. Because Kim Kardashian said she's a Democrat. Oh, I love Kim Kardashian. I'm a Democrat. Oh. Okay? Yeah. Because Kanye West said, I'm a Republican. Oh, then I'm a Republican. Really? Mm-hmm. You think Kanye West gives a shit about you? Or me? But that's where we're at in this world.
Who people are looking up to today is a big issue too. Obviously, right? Like, I mean, you said...
And I got nothing against Kim or Kanye. I'm just saying, I'm not going to them for political advice. If I want to know about fashion, maybe.
You told me something last time we met about a friend of yours that plays something. And I saw a commercial recently and I'm like, fuck off. You know what I'm talking about. You'll take a second to think about it. And I was like, okay. Because of this, it changes when you start seeing the levels of influence that people have and you start realizing what it is that they can say or do that gets a whole unit to move behind them. But for what interest? Just because they're part of the establishment. That's what we got to fight, man.
Do you know how many professional athletes I know that are like, yeah, I'm a Democrat, and then go vote Republican? They don't want to get canceled. They don't want to lose their sponsors. So like, yeah, they go with the status quo, but then they go vote Republican because they're like, I'm not giving away my fucking money.
Right.
I worked hard for this.
Right.
When I need a hip replacement in 10 years, or when I need to have freaking brain surgery from all the concussions that I've gotten, They're not going to take care of that.
These guys, right?
I'm not going to General Hospital. You know what I mean? So they're like, hell no, but I can't say that because then I'm not with the team. Then I'm a lone wolf and I get canceled. You know, you may agree with Colin Kaepernick's stance and I may not, or vice versa. The reality is the man did what he thought was right, good or bad, and he got canceled. That scared the shit out of a lot of people.
You sure did. Sure did.
Because they're like, if they could take that person and make him invisible and silence him and not give him a job, what are they going to do with me?
Mm-hmm. I'm disposable too. Yep.
And it's like, wow. And it's scary.
Especially when you've invested your whole life to become something like that at that high level too.
I mean, right? the number one tennis player in the world said, I don't want to get jabbed. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the science. And they wouldn't let him play tennis. Joko.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I'm just going to tell you my thought.
You sure you don't want to go down the rabbit hole?
No, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
Come on, man.
The vaccine, okay? You're supposed to take it, right? The vaccine does not stop you from getting COVID, and it does not stop you from giving COVID, okay? Only thing that the vaccine did was help your body fight it. So why are people calling you selfish if you don't take the vaccine? Actually, you're the opposite. Because whether you take the jab or not, if you're jabbed, you can still give it, you can still receive it.
Right.
All it does is help your body recover quickly.
Yep.
So if you choose not to take it, you're hurting yourself, not others.
Right.
But all we heard about was, you're selfish if you're not vaccinated. You hate people. You hate your mother. You hate your grandparents. And I'm sitting there going, why? I don't understand. Because the media said so. And now they're saying that, oh, shit, the vaccine really didn't work. And we didn't know. But, and again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. My point is, it didn't cure you or stop you from giving it to somebody. And yet, because of politics, it became, if you're a Republican, you can't get vaccinated. If you're a Democrat, you must get quadruple jabbed. Made no sense. And this is the world we live in, man.
Goes back to what you said earlier about whether it's just full blown, like the line in the table right here, right? It's just dividing it into two sides. And that's what, look, if again, what do I know? I'm just throwing something out there. But if you're foolish enough to believe that they didn't have that master planned already, it was. I'm saying that as if I'm certain. I feel that way, right? You don't have to agree with me. But they had that in mind because they knew that that would be the outcome, because they know how to move minds in a way that they can control, which again, people are very susceptible to things like that. So it's like, hey, let's inject this into the sort of the ethos of the world, let everybody start to get sick. Then it's like, oh, you don't go around your parents and your grandparents because you're going to kill them. And then you're going to be responsible for that because that's who's vulnerable to this whole situation. And now you're like, well, I can't do that. So now you're divided from your family. You're not talking to them. And, oh, let's get the vaccine. No, I don't believe in that. Well, you're an idiot. I can't talk to you. Now you have infighting in the family and you're looking around. You're like, man, we just got played.
Let me remind you about this because people forget. You remember at we'll call it the peak of the pandemic, when you went to a restaurant, you could only sit 4 people to a table.
Yeah.
So a mother and a father and their 3 kids live in the same house. They get into one car. They drive to a restaurant. They cannot sit together. So the mother has to sit with 1 or 2 kids and the father has, and yet they're going to go there together and leave together and stay in the same house together, but they can't eat together. And it was like, wait, how does that make sense? Oh, because study. What study? There's no study. This shit's new, right? There's no study. And we sat there and gobbled that up. Oh, we can't go to our family gatherings. Please don't go to your families for Easter or Thanksgiving or Christmas. You might get sick. Like, I live, what do you mean? If I live with my family, why can't I hang out with them? But you can go to the casino and gamble. And then the dumbest thing of all was you can't eat at an indoor restaurant, but you can go outside into this makeshift wooden creation bullshit and eat because it's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hold on. That restaurant and this outside area have the same tables. They both have structures. Oh no, but this is outside. So what? It's enclosed. What's the outside? And people were like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the world that we lived in. And like countries and people literally fought over this. We had countries, we were lucky in America. In Europe, in Australia, in Canada, you couldn't go to the supermarket. You couldn't leave your house. I'm like, what are we living in? Like, hey guys, we're not in like World War III. It's not like, Chernobyl happened and you're going to go outside and die.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how people treated it. And I still look back at that as lessons like, wow.
Agreed, man.
I can't believe that we were so blinded, confused, manipulated. I don't care what side you're on. Because me personally, I didn't want to get vaccinated. I had to because I wanted to travel and I did it, but I didn't want to.
Right.
But I couldn't believe the fighting. It's like, yo, you want to go get vaccinated?
That's right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You don't want to? Go ahead.
Yeah. With a lot of speculation about how if you get sick, it's going to affect me without knowing what was really going on.
It's, and that was 2 years of our lives on a global scale.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to show you, global scale. And every day, remember we had the TVs with the death tolls?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there going, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is master manipulation.
Yep.
Oh, look at this country. Their death toll spiked 1%. That's a bad country.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have more elderly than another country and they got sick. People die from the flu every day. And at the end of the day, what was COVID? It was a stronger, it was a different variant of a flu, right? So that was man-made.
Right.
Let's not forget that.
Right.
Man-made. Whether we knew or we didn't know, it wasn't like God's gift to us. Here you go, God. No, it was man-made. So somebody created this thing in a lab, unleashed it to the world, and created pandemonium.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a litmus test of look how much we can control the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And look at all the infighting. And look at how this country is hating this one and talking shit about that one. And now we're all like, collectively, we're like, wow, we're idiots.
Yeah. Well, I hope that, I think that's the part right now where you asked me earlier, like, what do we do? Or, it's paraphrasing a little bit. How do we fix this? That's the part right there where I think enough smart people are looking at with the side eye and saying, I see what y'all just did. And it's pissing them off.
I hope
and they're
so.
like, hey man, you ain't going to keep shoving me around down here, right? Like now I'm going to wake up and.
I still see people wearing masks every day.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
We went far enough down the rabbit hole, man.
No, every day.
Oh,
I took an Uber a few weeks ago and the guy had a mask.
I know. I've seen him.
And I was sitting there like, what are you protecting yourself from?
In his car.
Yes, driving
by himself.
Yeah. I'm like, what, huh?
Hey man,
so,
listen. We're going to start the political side of Always on the Grow, and you're going to be my recurring co-host.
We didn't go down that rabbit hole too far.
We're going to have some fun.
That's good.
All right, man. Let me ask you if you. I'm glad that was fun. I had a lot of fun with that, by the way. I was like, because it's like I was telling Scott earlier. I was like, this is on my heart. It's heavy right now.
Scott,
I ain't fucking around right now with this thing. I'm going to go in on it. What a perfect guy to start that process. What do we need to talk about to finish this thing that you didn't get off your chest, man, that you think is important? Just kind of wrapping it up.
It's the holiday season. I know we talked about a lot of morbid stuff and a lot of what angers us, but we are really blessed.
Yeah.
We do live in the best country in the world. We just have to come together, be better human beings, be better to each other, and especially around the holidays, because that's just added motivation, right? Like everyone has New Year's resolutions and I want to do okay, well then just be better. If you're better to yourself, you'll be better to others.
Right.
You know, what I've learned, and I've done like you, I've done a lot of self-work over the years. And I used to be far more quick to react and my ego drove me more. You know, now it's more of my soul driving me, and I take my time to understand. And what I've learned is what triggers us is usually a mirror of ourselves in others. So if you have a friend or family member that bothers you, it's because you're seeing that part of you that you don't like, and it triggers you. So what I love to see people do is work on themselves, be a better version of themselves, and we'll all collectively, again, what we said in the beginning, one person can only do so much. If we all work on ourselves, imagine what kind of a world we'd live in. You know, you came to the toy drive on Sunday. That was 2 people that started it 10 years ago, and look at what it became now. Thousands upon thousands of toys, countless volunteers. Now imagine if 1,000 more people did toy drives or volunteered. You know, I work with the WIN, and they have this amazing volunteer program that they do with their staff. And they're lucky enough that I know the woman who heads it, and she invites me, and I go and I volunteer. And they always laugh. They go like, "You're not part of the WIN." I'm like, "No, but I want to give back. And this is, you guys work with some great charities, and I like to do it." So it's incredible because one organization took it upon themselves to give back. And they do stuff sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes when it's busy once a week. But throughout the course of the year, they might do 50 events. And it's not, cool. We'll go to an animal farm and clean up manure and clean up fences. It has to be done. Keep those animals safe, right? Then we'll go someplace else and we'll feed elderly people. We're literally just dropping off food because they're elderly and they can't do it. You know what? That is a huge help. And there's a lot of organizations. They work with just one project. They work with many different groups. 3 Square. The point is, if we can amplify that, and if we could talk more about, hey, help, love thy neighbor, help thy neighbor, not let me get over on my neighbor. Let me go rob Lululemon.
Right,
let me go. If we just do a little bit, that would be awesome.
Yeah. It's funny. You say that though, and I think about, you said at the holiday time. I get that it's the holiday time, but I was like, dude, let's just do that all the time.
We should.
Right? Like the hell with just the holidays. It's like all the time. So
we should. But, life sometimes gets in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work, family, injuries, sicknesses, this, that.
But it's the attitude, right? It's just the thought of having this unity around helping and just love thy neighbor. It's like, okay, it's not just because it's Christmas or it's Thanksgiving. It's like, no, it's because it's just the way of life. Right? It's like you do the self-work on you. You go spiritual. You go deep dive on figuring out how to be a better human being. That's in essence the name of the game. See, people don't realize that. They think because they're living an ordinary life that they feel they're comfortable and complacent, that they're good. But they could be better because they don't even know that part of themselves that they haven't met yet. That could be even more amazing, and they just don't understand that yet.
That's true.
Right? So it's like...
I'll leave you with this. I started dating someone recently, and what she's taught me, many things, but what she's taught me, the most important thing she's taught me is about reading energies. And I'm starting to learn from her and pick up on that about when you're around people, because everything is energy. At least that's what we believe.
Right.
And you're either giving it or you're receiving it or you're taking it from somebody, right? And it's crazy when you focus on yourself and you are really true to yourself, how much you can pick up, how much you can just innately observe. You can avoid conflicts. You can see what makes you happy. You feel more fulfilled because you have that inner peace and you have that like spidey sense.
Sure.
When we're always running and busy and we're not focused, right?
Right.
So that's one thing that I've learned in these last several months. And man, it's freeing. I got more joy out of being at that toy drive on Sunday for 9 hours and helping kids than I did going to those cities and watching those football games, even though those were great fun. But it just gave me this surreal pleasure, but also this calmness. And let me be very transparent. There were some kids and some parents there that were not very nice.
Right.
I mean, there were some like really bad parents at this toy drive. Kids coming in there, like we tell everybody you can grab 3 or 4 gifts. You know, we have a lot of people coming. Kids grabbing like garbage bags full of toys, 10 gifts. And I'm like, I told you guys 3 or 4, but you don't want to be mean. You don't want to be, Scrooge.
Right.
So you go to the parent like, hey, there's a lot of people coming. We also have a lot of organizations coming. So we'd like kids to take 3 or 4 gifts. We think that that's a really good number. Like when I was a kid, I didn't get 4 gifts. I got 1, but still.
Right.
And then these parents they didn't care.
Yeah, man.
So I can see though, like I can feel their energy. Like that mom, like you said, was just tired or just was over it. I don't want to deal with my kid. My kid's annoying, kind of. And I'm like, okay, well, happy holidays. And then you see other parents that were there. They were so grateful. It was funny. There were these 2 ladies there. One had 9 kids and one had 4 kids. So they came to get toys for their kids. And during the time they were doing that, one of the fellow coordinators was like, all right, guys, volunteers, let's go outside. We have this organization that drove this Ryder truck from California. We got to load up their truck. They need to drive back. These 2 ladies stopped what they were doing for their own kids and acted as volunteers and were taking trips to fill up that truck. And I looked at them like, that's so awesome. Because they're clearly in need.
Right.
Like you can just see
you can tell.
Their clothing and they're just, and they stopped what they were doing to help others. And I'm like, that's so amazing. And their energy was so great. So when we finished doing that, I was like, ladies, thank you so much for helping. You didn't have to do that. We have volunteers here, but I really appreciate your time. No, least we can do. This is so amazing. She's like, we've been to many toy drives. We've never seen something like this. It's so cool. And I'm like, well, look, that gentleman over there, he's representing the Metropolitan Police Department of Las Vegas. They brought us a pallet, and that guy over there, it's this owner, and brought us this. And they were like so grateful, and the joy in their face. I'm like, man, they're 13 kids combined are gonna have a great Christmas because a bunch of people came together to do a little. Let's be real, bro. It's not rocket science. We all did a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of us gave time. Others gave toys. Our networks added. So it's just the point of the story is when you're at peace and when you're in tune with your energy, you can sense what others are doing. And for me, it's great because being in hospitality, we're around a lot of people and we don't pick up on the energies. Just usually like, hey, what's up? Hey, I know you at this place. But now I'm like, nah, I can't be around this one. Oh, I love this person's energy. Oh, and man, I am so much better than I was 5 months ago because I can see that. And growing up and over the years, people are always like, keep your energy, stay positive. But when someone is sucking it out of you, you see that in relationships, right? You got that like girlfriend or that boyfriend that's crazy and obsessive or whatever it is. All they're doing is they're sucking their energy out of you.
Yeah.
And now you're like, man, my fiance she's awesome.
Yeah. She gives me life.
And you're so different, right? Yeah, she gives me life because you feel so energized. So that's another thing where if we just take care of ourselves, we will, without even trying, help our surroundings.
That's right. Yeah. It's like the rising tide lift all boats or something like that. Yeah.
That's a good saying.
Yeah, man. See, I know how to polish it off.
There you go.
Come on now.
You shouldn't want to run for office?
No. Actually, you know what? That could change in a few years, man. I'm coming to you like, hey, bro, how'd you do this?
$12,000 coming your way.
Last question, man. What does always on the grow mean to you, man?
For me, always on the grow is having the foresight and the insight to learn from everything around you, whether it's you or someone around you, and to progress. It doesn't have to be leaps and boundaries. In life, we all have goals. We all want to be rich. We all want to own this. But if you can progressively get better over time, you're growing, you're evolving. And I mentioned this earlier. I used to be more ego-driven. I used to be, I want now. As I've grown as an individual, as a human, as a better man, it'll take time. It'll happen when it's right. If you plan and if you execute and if you do all the right things, you'll get there. And that's what growth is to me. It's making sure that you enjoy the journey, you learn from the good and the bad, because the bad is just as good of a lesson as the good is.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep adapting and you keep growing.
Yeah, man. Brother, I'm grateful for you, man. I know we had to take a couple swings at this, and you've always been so kind and gentle, and just, I would say hospitable in our time of knowing each other, and to take the time again to come out here tonight. And it is a nighttime version, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, Vegas way. No, we're not partying or doing any nightclub stuff, but Manny was kind enough to come back down here and bless us with his word and his thoughts, his opinions, his experience. And man, it's amazing, man. So
I thank you for the opportunity. It's great. Listen, if I can help one person that might be dealing with a dilemma or might be like stuck, I love it, because when I was younger, we didn't have these opportunities. There were no podcasts when we were younger. Yeah. There was no one sharing their knowledge, I kept hearing, if I knew now.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? That saying, if I knew then what I know now. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And now I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, would have bought Bitcoin. Yeah. But yeah, this is awesome. I love having conversations with good people that are growing. And like I said, the goal is always to help whenever possible. So
awesome,
if some time and some words move someone in a positive direction, then I'm more than happy to do it. And I love that. Perfect, man. Where can we find you? Where are you hanging out at on social, website, anything like that? Yeah, I mean, I'm not really the biggest social guy. I have an Instagram. It's, at Manny Kess. Other than that, I have a couple of, like I said, lounges and restaurants in California. One is called Cork and Batter. We're expanding that brand to a couple other ones. So IG, Facebook, Manny Kess. I keep it simple. I got a Twitter. I don't really tweet much, but it exists. Maybe one day I'll get crazy and do a TikTok, but not yet. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My man, Manny in the studio, man. That's right. Appreciate Manny squared. Yeah. Thank you. Again, though, the more perfect one. Yes, you. Awesome. My man.